MNFL, what's happening? What's good? What's going on? I know it's been a minute, man. A lot of things going on, man. Full time working and all that good jazz, man. I ain't had a lot of time to be online and do these videos, man. But I'm gonna try to give a little combination video for y'all real quick. Looks like we got definitely some talented rookies that came through this year. It comes down to the MNFL draft class, first round. That was definitely a good thing. We had a couple of X factors that were drafted, or some superstars. Some guys that matriculated superstars. Been a really good year, man. So we're gonna start about doing a rookie review. We're gonna get into that real quick, and we'll do that, and then we'll do season awards as well. We'll get into that. We'll break down who won awards this year for season 5. We're hiding any playoffs. If you caught the earlier part of the stream, saw that the Panthers defeated the 49ers 13-7 to advance to the conference title game. So we're waiting on the next few games to get played. Some are maybe hopefully today, hopefully tomorrow. Maybe we'll get those on stream, maybe not. But it's been a good ride so far, man. Like I said, we're 5 seasons in, and we're gonna keep this thing pushing. Hopefully, we'll get it maybe 7, maybe 8, depending on when a new man comes out. But we'll keep this thing rocking and rolling, man. You know, as always, man. I appreciate everybody's dedication and their their effort, and their putting forth a successful franchise, man. Appreciate everybody out there, man. So we'll get into this thing real quick. Starting off with the first pick in the draft, we're gonna get down to the quick tax of the Titans draft because they've been really MIA. So we're not going to get too heavy into it, but they did. The quarterback that was drafted by the computer, let's be real, Nick Easley. He was hitting development out of the box on one of the highly rated quarterbacks coming out of the draft. So he finished the season, and all these stats are off into the season stats. They are stats that came through right before the playoffs started. So he finished the year with 4,112 yards passing, 28 touchdowns and 20 picks, but it seemed like it was mainly all CPU that did that. So we want to keep it pushing. So the Chiefs had the second overall pick, and they went corner. Guy by the name of Ty Hughes. Ty Hughes was hitting development out the box, and he ended up with 41 solos throughout the year, 5 tackles for loss, 3 picks, 3 pass deflections, and a forced fumble. A cornerback forcing a fumble, man, that's quite interesting. So it looks like everybody's sticking with everybody. Don't matter if you're a linebacker or a safety or a corner. Everybody using the hit stick buttons, and he got a forced fumble, and he ended up with a superstar development trait after his hidden development was revealed. And so the Chiefs got themselves a good corner going forward for the foreseeable future, and then compete in that AFC West. So the Giants had the third pick. They picked up Chuck Franklin, free safety, speedy guy, tall, speedy guy, free safety, hidden development. He finished the year with 38 solo tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 9 picks, and 8 pass deflections. And he's a superstar X factor out the gate. So yeah, that was definitely a good pick for the Giants as they come back and try to rekindle their NFC East beef and rivalries with the Cowboys and the football team, of course, and the Eagles as well. So they got themselves a good player there. Definitely got themselves a good player. So the Steelers had the 4th pick, and I believe this was a CPU pickup. I don't think the guy who came and left, we're not going to even discuss that for real. But that team picked up a corner, normal development, a guy by the name of Silas McCary. He finished the year with 27 solos, 3 tackles for loss, 2 pass breakups, and a forced fumble as well. And he remained normal depth, so he didn't get any upgrades throughout the year. The Rams picked number 5. They picked up a left tackle by the name of Jarris Russell. Now, Jarris Russell is actually a superstar development lineman. That might have been the first one I've seen throughout this whole entire process that we've been in MNFL so far. So he is superstar dev. Of course, we don't do any notable stats for linemen, obviously, but yeah, he definitely got himself a good O lineman going forward, and he's got some good traits as well. So shouts out to the Rams for drafting well there. So the Chiefs had another second first round pick going in the 6th pick, and they picked up a free safety. They were trying to bolster that secondary, obviously. Which is interesting enough because the division is a running division. The Rams, not the Rams, but Raiders and the Broncos, and as well as me, we run the ball. So, but he want to bolster the secondary. I give it to him. He picked up a guy by the name of Taj Benson, free safety. He finished the year with 37 solo tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 4 interceptions, 4 pass breakups, and a forced fumble. What is with these corners and safeties forcing fumbles like that, man? It's crazy out here. Didn't get any notable dev upgrades throughout the year, though, even though he had decent stats, but so he's still normal. So the Bears picked at number 7, and they wanted to go D-line here. They picked up a guy by the name of Jay Goodwin, a D tackle, normal development out the box, and he remained normal throughout the year. Doesn't get a whole lot of stat worthy, I guess you can say notable stats, because he only had 11 solos and 3 tackles for loss. But I mean, that's typically the way the D line runs when it comes down to come down to interior line play. The edge rushers get all the love, and the D line just do the dirty work. Interior line do the dirty work, and that's pretty much indicative of what his stats were. So yeah, he had 11 solo tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and he's still normal dev. The Jets picking number 8. They picked up Larry Patterson, the left end, normal development out of the box, and it looked like he played much either, or he just didn't have any notable stats. He only had 4 solos, 2 tackles for loss, and a sack, and he's still normal development. So yeah, he's still working on him. He's still a project for the Jets. So yeah, they were still trying to work him in. The Jaguars picked number 9, and they picked up a middle linebacker, a guy named McCole Gross. He started normal dev out the box, and he had 20 solo tackles, 5 tackles for loss, and 2 pass deflections throughout the year, but he's still normal development, so he hadn't got any dev upgrades as of yet. So the Cowboys picked 10. They picked up a wide receiver, which is interesting enough because we know the Cowboys don't throw the ball. But we picked up a guy by the name of Lindsey Lamb. I'm sorry, not Errol Phillips. I'm sorry, I jumped the gun. Lindsey Lamb is the Broncos pick. Errol Phillips is the wide receiver that the Cowboys picked up at wide receiver. He's normal development. He had 796 yards throughout the year and 7 touchdowns, so he did play. In the I guess the Dak Prescott / Russell Wilson regime in Dallas, moving the ball a little bit, but he's still normal dev. Didn't get any breakout games or any notable upgrades at the end of the season, so he's still normal. So the Broncos picked 11th. They picked up a right tackle who was head in development. He was ended up being star at the end of the game. Lindsey Lamb, right tackle. And the Bills at 12. They pick up a strong safety by the name of Keith Whitaker. He started off normal dev. He had 35 solo tackles throughout the year, 4 tackles for loss, 4 INTs, and 7 pass deflections. Still remains normal development up to this point. Washington football team picked at 13. They picked up a guy by the name of Terrell Cherry, another right end for the football team. He had 9 solo tackles, 6 tackles for loss, and 4 sacks, and still remains normal development. So the Colts picked up number 14. They got a tight end. Now, the run of tight ends in this draft in the first round was definitely interesting because I think we had 2 or 3 superstars in this draft, and we're going to get to them. So the Colts picked up Steven Rivers. He was a hidden talent out of the box, and he finished the year with 892 yards receiving and 6 touchdowns, and he ended up with a superstar development tag. So the Colts got him a good pass catcher along with Gronk in that offense, and they're looking to play the Raiders this week in the divisional round, so that'll be a good game. So yeah, they got themselves a superstar development tight end to throw streaks to. I guess we could call it that. Throw streaks to. But yeah. So you got Steven Rivers for the Colts pick at 14. The Bucs at 15, they picked up a guy by the name of Vernon Dowling, a left outside linebacker, or normal development. He didn't play much, it looks like. We had 5 solo tackles and normal development still going forward. So yeah, that's going to be a project for the Bucs. They don't use a whole lot of linebackers, play a lot of man coverage. I mean, let's just be real. Everybody knows it now. Yeah, man. Yeah. So, looks like B-Man is in the chat. No more Grunk, my guy. Okay, I see you. I see you in the chat. No more Grunk, my guy. All right, then. So Gronk is no longer the man. Steven Rivers is the guy. Okay, I get it. I'm with you. All right, so it looks like I'm gonna take a pause for the calls. I got a message from Kevin here. All right, so it looks like they're gonna play soon. So let's get through this. Let's get through this rookie review, and then we'll flip over to the. Looks like we'll flip over to the game between the Cardinals and the Vikings. So we'll flip over to that. So yeah, so let's where we at here. Vernon Dowling is 15. Then we got Nigel Andrews, who's another tight end, hidden development. And he was drafted by the Ravens at 16, and he had 1,000 yards, 1,081 yards receiving with 11 touchdowns, and he's superstar X Factor, drafted out the box. So that was definitely a good pickup by the Ravens. So yet another good tight end in the AFC. So the Cowboys had another first round pick at 17. They picked up Deshaun Gardner, strong safety, normal development out the box. He had 49 solo tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 6 INTs, and 4 pass breakups, and he's star development. He got a dev game in that mix, so he was got an upgrade there. So the Cowboys won there, got himself started with a development upgrade for him. So at 18, the Chargers picked up Cortez Ewing, a halfback. He was normal development out the box. He finished the year with 1,069 yards rushing, 24 total tackles, 2 fumbles, and he ended up being superstar development at the end. So that was a good pickup for the Chargers. The Bengals picked a quarterback at 19 by the name of Brian Johnston. He was normal development out the box, and he remained normal at the end. He passed for 3,610 yards passing, 27 touchdowns, and 35 picks. So yeah, that was a little bit rough Yeah, growing pain for the rookie, but the Bengals run the ball. They got an identity of running, so it is what it is. So the Vikings pick at 20. They picked the Miles Day, right outside linebacker. He's normal development at the start, normal development at the end. 11 solo tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 2 INTs, and 1 pass breakup. So it's a pretty good year for him. So the Falcons picked at number 21. They picked up Keyshawn Davidson, cornerback / free safety. I think he moved him from cornerback to free safety after the draft, and he's normal development to start, normal development towards the end, so no dev games. So he ended up with 38 solo tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and 1 pass breakup. So the Eagles picked at 22. He picked up Cassidy Lindsley, left outside linebacker, normal development at the start, normal development in the end. He had 9 solo tackles and 2 tackles for loss. So the Bengals picked up, again, another first-round pick in the first round. This is interesting for me because he picked up Will Wiggins, right end, but he ended up on the practice squad. So he didn't even make the team going forward. Like right now, he's not on the team. So yeah, that's interesting enough to say he's on the practice squad. So he didn't play, obviously. So the Panthers picked up a tight end as well. They picked up Kevin Graham, tight end, normal development. He only had 363 yards and 6 touchdowns throughout the year, so he's still normal development at this point. So the Packers picked up a right tackle at 25 at Julian Key. He's hidden development, ended up being star development at the end, so that was a good pickup for the Packers. The Cardinals picked up a right outside linebacker by the name of Andy Hardiman. He was hidden development out the box, ended up being star development. He had 14 total tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, and 1 INT. Like I said, he ended up being star development, so that was a good pickup for the Cardinals. But the Jags picked up Chris Simpson at 27, halfback, normal development. He had 1,829 rushing yards, 19 total touchdowns, and no fumbles. No fumbles, because Cortez Jr. had 2 fumbles out of the year, but because Chris Simpson didn't have any. And a bit of normal development, but I think he's going to win Rookie of the Year, so he should probably get some upgrades. Dolphins pick at 28. They picked up Warren Grant, left outside linebacker. He was hidden development out the box, and he had 36 solo tackles, 28 tackles for loss, 12 sacks, 1 INT, and 3 pass breakups. So he ended up being star development at the end. That was a good pickup for the Dolphins at 28. 29, the Browns picked at 29, and they picked up Carlos Holt. He was strong safety, hidden development. He ended up being superstar development at the end of all this, but didn't play much. This looked like he only had 6 solo tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 picks, and 1 pass breakup. So yeah, looks like he was superstar out the gate, but that was definitely a good pickup for the Browns at 29. And at 30, the Vikings picked up Roy Bayless, free safety from, I think he was normal development out the box, normal development at the end, and he was 25 solo tackles, 6 picks, and 4 pass breakups. So that was definitely a good pickup for them. He hasn't got any over there upgrades yet, but he definitely looked solid in that Vikings defense. The Rams picked at 31, and they picked up Harry Bates, a left guard. He no notable stats, obviously normal development, but they definitely bolstering their line in LA for trying to get that line right. So you got another left guard, a solid guy for the Rams, although that superstar development pickup was definitely the pick of the litter. And so at 32, as we wrap this up, the Browns pick again at 32. They picked up LaMichael Harris. LaMichael Harris didn't play. He was a halfback. He was like 3rd or 4th on the depth chart in Cleveland. So he didn't play this year, but I guess they was picking up some depth there, trying to get some depth running for Nick Chubb and company. So yeah, that was a pickup for them. So they didn't play yet, but we'll see how he fits into the mix of next season. All right, so let's transition. We're going to try to catch this here Cardinals game. Looks like the Cardinals and Vikings have kicked off, so we're going to try to transition to that real quick. See if we can bring that up. Let me find it here. First and foremost, I'm going to find it, then we'll get to it. All right, so let's flip over to season awards. So as if you didn't see him in the divisional round of the playoffs that we broadcasted earlier, Jonathan Taylor is a man amongst boys. To say the least, he's our MVP this year. He's definitely one of those guys that is truly an X factor, pun intended. And he's definitely been putting in a lot of work this season. And he's picked up plenty, and I mean plenty of awards this year. Just looking at his accolades from top to bottom. He amassed 2,393 rushing yards and 36 total touchdowns this year. So he picked up the MVP award, Offensive Player of the Year, and Best Running Back. Of course, he had a Pro Bowl to go along with that. So, if he didn't have an X Factor at this point, he probably would now. But definitely is the bell cow for the Colts. So he's an MVP. So he's first up on the docket to talk about who's winning awards this year. So let's start on the AFC on the offensive side. I guess we can talk about Jonathan Taylor real quick again. Bell cow. Joe Mixon came in second in this regard, but Jonathan Taylor was the man. B-Man had time to play this year. He didn't have the work, and he showed his prowess in getting Jonathan Taylor another set of accolades this year. So he's the offensive player of the year for the AFC side. NFC side was a new face. Let's talk about it. Carlos McDougal, running back from the Bears. He had 2,287 rushing yards and 22 total touchdowns this year. So yeah, the Bears amassed about a 5-11 record, but it wasn't Carlos' fault. So he definitely got his work in early and often, and I believe he's an X Factor now too. So yeah, he might have drafted him as an X Factor, at least superstar or X Factor. So yeah, he's definitely putting in work from the running back position and passing and running the ball. So Carlos McDougal is your offensive player of the year for the NFC side. So defensive player of the year for the NFC side. Let's start there. You saw him early on against the Cardinals. Tyree Ashmore, he's a baller. He was a second-year player. I think he was drafted last year, putting in major work from the safety spot, I want to say. And yeah, I mean, he's definitely plays in the box a lot. Burford uses him a lot, and he had us a lot of world-beating stats. Now, if you're not sitting down, you want to sit for this one, because the last part of this stat line I'm going to read is going to be crazy. Okay, so like I said, he's a defensive player of the year. He also won best DB, but we'll get to that in a second. He had 68 total tackles, 35 solos, 6 tackles for loss. Now get this, he had 23 interceptions. That's not a typo. 23 interceptions, ladies and gentlemen. That's absolutely crazy. 23 interceptions and 5 pass breakups for the year. So he caught way more than he batted down. I mean, and that sounds like it's indicative of a good user perspective, but he definitely broke all kind of records with 23 interceptions in the whole season. That's crazy. 23. I think the next highest guy on the NFC side was like in the early teens, maybe 10. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. So for the AFC side, Jesse Bates. Jesse Bates is the defensive player of the year for the AFC side. The Bengals at a 12-4 record. He had 72 total tackles, 38 solos, 6 tackles for loss, 20 interceptions, and 11 pass breakups. Absolutely insane. I mean, just world-beating type of work. I mean, just game-changing in his own regard. I mean, I'm sure a lot of those victories are on his back from a 12-4 perspective. A lot of victories were sealed with him playing good defense. So Jesse Bates is the man in AFC, I'll tell you that. So, offensive rookie of the year was a battle. Offensive rookie of the year for the AFC was Chris Simpson. He edged out Cortez Ewing from the Chargers. Chris had 1,829 rushing yards and 19 total touchdowns and no fumbles. Yeah, he put in big work. Big work is the bell cow for the Jags, and they're playing the Ravens here soon in the divisional round to go for the right to play the Colts in the AFC title game. So that'll be interesting to see how Chris fares in his first playoff game. Definitely good work for him. On the NFC side, a guy by the name of Rayshon Lewis for the Panthers, running back. He amassed 1,317 yards rushing and 18 total touchdowns for his Rookie of the Year award. And it's interesting that he had that many touches and that many yards based upon the fact that he still had Christian McCaffrey, but he took a lot of the share carries away from Christian McCaffrey and decided that he was going to be that guy. He was going to be that guy. So shouts out to Rayshon Lewis. All right, so let's move over to Defensive Rookie of the Year for the NFC. And no surprise here, Chuck Franklin, highly regarded safety out of New York. The Giants picked up in, I think, the 3rd overall pick. We talked about him in the rookie review earlier. And yeah, man, I think he's an X Factor already. 38 solo tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 9 picks, and 8 pass breakups. Yeah. So yeah, put that work in, young man. Put that work in, because he definitely is fast. He definitely can play ball. His X Factor kicks in, and it's just a problem for people, from an offense perspective. So yeah, gotta give Chuck Franklin credit for being that guy and taking home an award for Defensive Rookie of the Year. On the AFC side, we had Warren Grant. Warren Grant is a defender as well. I want to say he's a safety. He finished with 36. Actually, it might be a defensive end because he had 36 total tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 12 sacks, INT, and 3 pass breakups. So he might be a linebacker. I think I'm gonna go with a linebacker there. I think he's a linebacker. Warren Grant, a linebacker for the Dolphins, He's at 36 solos, 8 tackles for loss, 12 sacks, a 1 INT, and 3 pass breakups. So yeah, he did it all. He did it all. Look like he drops some coverage and he looks like he rushed the passer. So yeah, Warren Grandis looks like he's an edge rusher. You know, they definitely made his mark in from the Dolphins. And it was interesting because their other guy, David McBride, was second in the voting. So that's crazy. Yeah, so that's your winners for defensive rookie of the year. Let's move over to best quarterback for the AFC. Again, another Dolphin, Jacob Eason. Jacob Eason, which I think was traded from the Colts to the Dolphins this year after Aaron Rodgers retired. So they didn't miss a beat. He won best quarterback, edging out, ironically, Caleb Stewart from the Colts, who he got traded for. So Jacob had 4,569 yards passing, 47 touchdowns, and 28 picks. Nice stat line. Nice stat line. And another guy from the AFC, Will Grier. Will Grier, who you saw earlier in a divisional round, didn't have a great game against Cardinals, obviously, but he definitely had a good year. He had 4,554 yards passing, 58 touchdowns. Jesus, 58 touchdowns and 34 picks. Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely did his thing. Came in short. Came in second was George Patterson from the Falcons, but yeah, Will Grier took the crown for best quarterback of the year. All right, so best running back. To no surprise, we talked about this already. Carlos McDougal for the NFC. We already talked about his stat line, and Jonathan Taylor for the AFC. So yeah, I don't have to belabor that point because he definitely took home MVP and offensive players of the year on both sides. So yeah, it's still a runners league. It's still a runners league here. I mean, you know, we've seen a lot of passing happen, but still a runners league, and the runners are always winning these awards. So moving on to best wide receiver, John Ross from the Dolphins. I think he's either traded or in free agency last year, so the Dolphins picked him up and threw him a lot of non-Ross maybe because he had 1,492 receiving yards, 17 total touchdowns. Crazy dog. But yeah, so John Ross, the speedster from the Dolphins, definitely won best wide receiver of the year. And it was lost over one. And NFC side, Henry Ruggs. Henry Ruggs won best wide receiver for the NFC with 1,734 yards and 21 touchdowns. Yeah, big work. Definitely big work out there. So the guys with 95 and above speed are getting a lot of accolades and a lot of passes thrown to them and putting in a whole lot of work. Christian Kirk came in second, who you saw earlier as well. So yeah, they definitely put up big numbers. So best O-line, Trent Brown, who got traded. It's ironic enough for Trent Brown. Trent Brown won best O-lineman in the AFC last year for the Raiders. Got traded in the offseason to the Panthers and won offensive lineman, best offensive lineman in the NFC. So it's crazy. He only gave up 6 sacks in 713 snaps. And AFC, Ronnie Stanley won it for the Ravens, and he gave up 3 sacks all year and at 665 snaps. Craziness. Definitely ain't getting past those guys unless you're an X Factor. I tell you that. Then it might just be a stalemate. Best D lineman. I just talked about this guy at length in the game against the Raiders versus the Colts. DeForest Buckner. DeForest Buckner's stat line is insane. Okay, 48 total tackles, 16 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, and 4 forced fumbles. Big work, and it's a large reason why the Colts are in the AFC title game this year. So don't run the DeForest Buckner side unless you got a plan. That's all I can tell you. Unless you got a plan. So for the NFC side, talked about this guy earlier too, Brian Burns. He was a catalyst in helping to propel the Panthers into the NFC title game. He had 49 total tackles, 12.5 sacks, 11 tackles for loss, and 3 forced fumbles. So yeah, Mr. X Factor is here again. Noki has successfully turned his man into X Factor in the 2 years running in Madden cycles. So yeah, he's a problem. Definitely a problem. If you don't count for him, he's your quarterback alive. Just saying. So best linebacker was one of my favorite things to talk about. Roquan Smith. Roquan Smith for the Bears. The Bears got some guys to finish well in their season, although they didn't have that much success winning this year, 5-11. But their offense and defensive players that won awards were definitely putting in work. Roquan had 87 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, a sack, 7 picks, and 10 pass breakups. Yeah, big time work. And not to be outdone, Miles Jack. Miles Jack for the Raiders. Oh man, this guy was all over the field, everywhere and all day. 99 total tackles, 10 tackles for loss, 12 INTs, and 5 pass breakups. Amazing. Almost had a whole 100 total tackles from a user team, not a CPU team, a user team. That's amazing. That is amazing. So moving on to best DB, Jesse Bates again. Don't got to talk about it a whole lot. We talked about him. We have 20 interceptions in this year. So what can you say? He definitely earned that award easy because he won Defensive Player of the Year. So definitely got to give him credit. And the NFC, Tyree Ashmore. We talked about him earlier as well. Tyree Ashmore won best DB. 68 total tackles again, 35 solos, 23 picks, 6 tackles for loss, 5 pass breakups. Hey man, putting in big work. Again, like I said, drafted last year, and definitely is a staple for that Vikings defense. So as we wrap this up, we got best kicker. We got Brandon McManus from the Vikings, and we got Rodrigo Blankenship from the Colts. So yeah, they round out the awards to win best kicker for AFC and NFC side. So yeah, that's going to do it, man. That's going to do it. We're going to let's talk about the playoff picture real quick. As I alluded to earlier, who's there and who's not. We'll talk about we'll get to the playoff picture real quick. We'll look at who's left. The Ravens play the Jaguars coming up soon. The Colts beat the Raiders 34-16. The Cardinals beat the Vikings 17-7, and the Panthers beat the 49ers 13-3. So it looks like we got a Cardinals versus Panthers matchup in the NFC, and the Colts are awaiting the winner of the Jaguars and Ravens. If I had to put my money on it, if I had to bet, I would say the Ravens will take it in a close one. But it all just depends how Madden wants to treat you in this particular game. I mean, if the Ravens get dealt a lot of penalties and the Jaguars get a few breaks, I think that the Jaguars could pull it out. But we'll see. We'll definitely see. They beat the Dolphins 40-26 in the wild card round. So anything's possible. Anything's possible. So we'll see. Should be good spirited competition, and we get to the Super Bowl here soon and get to the next season. We're wrapping up season 5, and we'll get into season 6 coming soon. Hopefully we can get 2 or 3 more seasons in, see how things break, and be a good way to close out Madden 21. But in the meantime, in between time, I'm your commissioner, MDC, and I'll catch y'all on the next video. Peace.